how usually use LeetCode is we just sort the problems by, let's say, concepts and difficulty, and try and do that. But while you are doing that, it's very easy to have the bias in the back of your mind. You know what you are going to apply here. Driving that is not what you are practicing, and that obviously you need in an interview. In an interview, you won't know what kind of concept is going to get asked, right? So that you can actually try and do through lead code contests as well. And once you start enjoying problem solving, then these interviews, first thing they'll remove from you of the interview is the pressure part or the nervousness part, because you enjoy problem solving. So try to find a way that makes you enjoy problem solving and solving these questions. If that comes naturally, or if you develop that in you, then Google, Uber, or whichever company interview is it, you won't feel first the pressure or the nervousness, and that opens up your mind, and the basics or whatever you have learned just straightforward comes to your brain.
So, hi everyone. Today we have a special guest on our channel. We have Tanmay with us. So, Tanmay, would you like to introduce yourself once?
Hey everyone, as you know, I'm Tanmay, and I'm a 2022 BTech graduate from IIT Roorkee in electrical engineering. And I started my career in software as a software engineer, full stack and into it. And recently, in June of last year, made a lateral switch to Google, and now I'm a software engineer at Google Cloud.
Right, right. So, like he mentioned, he recently cracked Google that too off campus, and apart from that, he's also a master on code forces, which is a pretty high rank in competitive programming. So, he's very good in problem solving, having cracked the top company Google and having a top rank also. So, today we'll be getting to know his entire journey, how he prepared, how he cracked Google, and everything in between. So, Tanmay, would you like to start us off with your interview experience at Google? Like, what was all the process? How did you apply, and what all happened?
So actually, my Google interview process and the recruitment process kind of began at the end of my college. So while it was an off-campus reach out to me from a Google recruiter, because I used to give a lot of these Kickstart and Code Jam kind of exams, if you would, and everyone would know. So I got some good ranks there, and I was reached out by a recruiter. And there, we had some rounds initially, but at the end of 2022, there was sort of a hiring freeze at Google, right? So I couldn't get any offer out of that. So recently, like last year, December, I got again reached out by a recruiter, and there I asked for some time to prepare. And in Feb of last year, I gave my interviews, which led to this offer. So my interviews, initially, my first call, which is the screening round, was skipped because Google maintains your all the record of the previous interviews as well. So based on the off campus which I gave at the end of my college, my screening round was skipped, and I got three technical interview rounds and one Googliness round, which is kind of like the general HR round that you get. And the three technical rounds were all coding DSA based, and lastly, the Googliness round was like basic knowing your leadership skills and all. So yeah, that was pretty much
Mhm.
the journey of it.
Right, right. So can you run us through a bit about what happened in each of the rounds? Like what types of problems did they ask?
So basically, I can break down the interviews, not like exactly the questions, but the difficulty and the kind of concepts that were tested on. Yeah. So I think my first interview was a graph-based question, which was like a lead code, medium to hard difficulty, or a code forces div to C or D level question. And but at Google, the interview questions, one thing I can say about them is they are not very specific and to the point to a concept that you see on LeetCode, let's say, that they are exactly testing a concept that you want, like you have prepared for. But it's a very generic and situational question, which will eventually lead to one of those concepts. And it can be a combination of multiple concepts as well. So breaking it down into just a graph question is not exactly correct. but it was conceptual question, a situational question, or an application question around that. And same was for the other technical rounds as well. So my second technical round was, if I break it down in concepts, was around 2 pointers, and my third one was a combination of tree and DP. So those were kind of the breakdown of them, and most of them, like all of them, were medium to hard difficulty levels on LeetCode if you see, or a COD on Code Forces Div 2.
Hi everyone, I really hope you're enjoying the video so far with Tanmay. And let me tell you, if you also have a dream of working at Google, then the best thing that you can do is apply via a referral to increase your chances of getting your resume shortlisted and to be able to get an interview call. And I know how difficult getting a referral is because most of the people that you message end up ignoring you or ghosting you and you end up getting nowhere. Which is why TopMate has made it extremely easy for you to get referrals and that too completely free of cost. All you need to do is go to the link in the description, and there you'll be able to connect with multiple individuals who'll be able to give you referral for multiple companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Flipkart, and all the top product based companies. You'll be able to get referrals for all of them. So you need to do nothing, just go in the link in the description and connect with multiple people who will give you a short referral to multiple product based companies. And not only they'll give you a referral, but here's the best part, they'll also tell you how to clear the interview. Because these are the people who have worked at these companies, who are working at these companies. So not only they can give you a referral, but they can also guide you on how to clear the interviews. So what are you waiting for? Go to the link in the description and apply to your dream company with your referral right now. Mhm. Right, right. So we can say that most of the problems came from sort of the difficult topics, right? That generally people consider the difficult topics like DP, graph, trees, and because, like you mentioned, those were the topics that you
Yeah.
faced, right?
So it's kind of a combination of all, like you need to have a basis of all those topics, but the mindset actually is of purely problem solving when you go into it. So you have to first evaluate the problem as like a basic problem, just understand the constraints and the situation you have been provided, start building upon it with a basic solution. And then these concepts, I feel, even during my competitive programming journey, I felt these concepts after a point are a tool, a trick, or an optimization that helps you build on top of the basic solution that you have. And actually, the Google interview is structured in a way that gives you liberty to start with a basic problem and optimize it in steps. So that helps you build the actual intuition around the situation and not try and find the concept. Okay, like I want to apply DP here. Is it a DP problem? Is it a graph problem? Is it a two pointer? Let's say those kind of problem.
Hmm.
So
Got
that
it.
way, the interview
Hmm.
is not very specific to a concept, but actually builds upon the concept, which is really good with Google interviews.
Hmm. So it's more about the application, you would say, rather
Yeah,
than just the point of solving a common
correct,
problem, right?
correct.
Mhm. Understood, understood. And so we can say that, and so we can say that the majority or like almost all of the focus of the interviews was at DSA skills or problem solving skills, so to speak,
Yeah.
right?
So technical
Hmm.
interview rounds were all focused on DSA, and for the level which I applied, it's that way in Google. There are no system design
Right,
rounds
right.
at my level.
And googliness is
Yeah,
for HR, sort
yeah.
of HR, right? Mm-hmm. Understood, understood. So, you know, like even we have heard, and like you also mentioned, I'm getting to see that the DSA round of Google is pretty difficult, you know, especially if you compare it to a normal company's DSA round, which usually has one easy problem, then one medium problem, max a medium to hard problem. Google also likes to ask, you know, proper hard problem, like an actual lead code hard problem, or you can say div to D, div to E level also sometime. So, what was your DSA preparation journey like, you know, because you also became a master on code forces eventually. So I want to know your entire DSA journey or sort of problem solving journey. Like, how did you go at it?
Yeah. So one thing I'll mention that problem solving journey that I had during like college actually helped me not over prepare for Google interviews. So I can break it down like if you are actually going in with like conceptual preparation very much. Okay, I have done 20 questions on DP, 30 questions on trees, and similarly graphs, segment trees, whatever. Google can ask anything. Google has maintained that sort of reputation in their interviews that it can test you on each level, but just having the basis around it and not just trying to fit in all of those concepts like you try and do at LeetCode. That actually is the difference between any other companies or most of the other companies' interviews where you are asked directly a conceptual question and here you have to build upon it. So competitive programming actually helped me there because there a lot of questions, if you see, are very different from lead code. Like lead code helps you build on concepts, but code forces actually helps you derive those concepts. So that journey I had in my college second year around like second year I started doing code forces. Actually, I started with Code Chef, the long contests, which I would actually recommend
Yeah.
are really good if you're a beginner.
Earlier they were for 10 days, right?
Yeah. So those
Hmm.
were actually really, really good for a beginner because you can actually sleep over a problem. You can think
Exactly.
overnight and build over the solution that
Yes.
helps you derive the concepts actually. And in any situation, the derived concept is much more helpful and uh, you can recall it much faster than what you have learned and tried to solve in multiple iterations. So that way, Code Force's long contest helped me build that basis around problem solving. And then I started giving Code Forces Div 3, Div 2 sometimes. But initially, like Div 2 is very demotivating as well because you have to, you can see people you can see people solve those really, really fast. And in my college, actually, there was a very good culture around this problem solving and competitive programming. So the community, and you can find people solving those questions everywhere. So you can create a group that actually helps you uh, build on that with the same mindset. Like you can easily find 10 people who are at your level facing the same struggles, and you can discuss the same kind of problems that you are facing, and all of them together can grow. So that is a really good help I had during college while building on my competitive programming or problem solving skills. So that way, I think I became pupil higher pupil during college, but then like COVID hit and we were sent home. So at home, I think that was the time when I mostly gave it all to problem solving and competitive programming. And there also, it's like, uh, and while I was that pupil, it's like a really big barrier to reach expert, I would say. So that part is where a lot of people also get demotivated. Like you're not seeing progress. Like we actually very easily correlate progress in terms of rating in competitive programming. But I would
Yeah.
say it's you can see it, but there's a lot of progress happening behind the scenes also,
Hmm.
which we don't
Like there's
know of.
more to than that just the rating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that
Hmm.
is not measurable, but you should believe on it because you'll start to understand problems faster. Competitive programming is more about speed, right? So s- slowly, you'll start to understand problems faster. You'll start to understand constraints faster. You'll start to derive the solutions faster. And one day it just boosts up. It shows on your rating also. So I would say the persistence and perseverance is the biggest key when you are a pupil or an expert. And that uh, actually was really helpful for me, the community which was created around me. So we were all in it together. We were at home in COVID. So working around it and just keep at it kind of attitude was really, really helpful there. And so for problem solving, concept learning, or those skills, I think till pupil or expert, you actually don't uh, bump into a lot of conceptually like uh, things that you find missing in your skill set. But let's say if I'm an expert, now I have to start solving. I'm already solving A and B of Div 2, let's say, very fast, like in 15, 20 minutes. but now I have to start solving C also. Let's say it takes till the end of the contest for me to solve C, but now I have to start solving C. And now the C problem starts requiring more optimization or these tools that you need, the data structures and the algorithms that you have to use there. So at that point, the biggest tool or aid that I had was Upsolving. So
Hmm.
I've seen people after they have reached a certain level, they start to go to CP Algo or Geeks for Geeks and just try and understand the concepts as a list. It's like an interview preparation. You start to
Hmm.
understand this. But as it was not an interview preparation for me, I had this liberty to bump into those concepts as and when I solve the problems.
Hmm.
And
Correct.
that is like a much more intuitional way of deriving them and
Yes.
like setting them up in your mind so that while you face a problem that not strictly or directly correlates to that concept, but you can easily derive it also while you are optimizing the solution. So that was a really
Yes.
good help which I got from competitive programming, which I couldn't have gotten if I was only doing, let's say, interview preparation.
Just yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is one which helped me understand and maybe those upsolving sessions and like I also used to read a lot of solutions from the top ranked programmers at that time or competitive programmers. Like you
Yeah,
would
yeah.
see tourist solution or all those
Red
people,
coders,
all
all
the
the red
red
coders.
coders, legendary
Yeah.
people. And actually, it's not really difficult to understand their solution. Also, those are the people who are solving it very easily and simply. So I think
Hmm.
people should start to look up to the people who are already there as an expert or a legendary. Their solutions are actually very helpful because they won't overcomplicate anything because it's very clear in their mind, right? So that
Hmm.
actually also helped a lot. And you can also refer to a lot of these YouTube channels. I used to see Ericto, if you would know a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Yes,
So,
of course. Who doesn't know Erecto?
so those YouTube
uh,
channels and concept clearing sessions really helped me grow in rating. And it's just after a point, it also becomes it's a sport, right? Competitive programming also causes
hmm.
some adrenaline rush, so that also keeps
Yes.
you going after a point. So that is also
Hmm.
really helpful in the journey.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. And that makes a lot of sense, the points that you said. And it's not like the main suggestion that even because I was also in competitive programming, right? So one suggestion that I also give to people is that try CP. Even if, matlab, at least if you have time, give it a try. You don't need to take it very seriously. You don't need to, lose your mind over it, but at least give CP a try. But let's say that if you're not doing CP, if you're just into interview prep, you can still follow what he's saying basically, right? So for example, let's take the long contest example that you said, that we used to have 10 days, and we didn't have any solution those 10 days.
Yes.
So we had no option to just, like basically break your mind over it every day, then go to sleep. बहुत बार ऐसे होता था, you will wake up with the solution in your mind, है ना?
Yeah.
First thing you will do, you will wake up and you will be like, now I have it. So if you're not doing that, even in DSA, don't go to the solution too quickly,
Yeah.
है ना? If you come to the solution by your own versus, like you said, if you come to the solution externally, there's a huge difference. Externally वाला eventually you will be able to forget, but जो खुद से derive किया है, you will be able to derive again given that time, है ना? So that is the one thing. The second thing is you need a good community. You need to have like-minded people who basically have the same goal as you. So even if you don't do CP, right, even if you don't do CP, even if you're just doing DSA, definitely you can still follow exactly what he said and go to just DSA during, like that. And the other thing that you said is that the intuition of the problem, a lot of times what happen, people just go to problem set कि ये sliding window का problem है, तो you already know कि यार मेरे को sliding window से करना है.
Yeah.
Like in competitive programming you don't know. तो अचानक से जब, like you said, you come into it unintentionally ना कि sliding window का problem था, editorial में देखते हो, तो फिर you remember it because that algo has screwed you over, right? So that is some amazing advice that I haven't heard in a long time. Usually people don't talk about these things, so it's a great thing that you have talked. So I want to talk more in this direction. Let's say that someone is there who doesn't have the time to go too much into CP right now, or they're like they want to crack, let's say Google, Uber, these sort of companies, the top companies, and they don't want to do CP, they want to do lead code, they want to do DSA. What would you say for them, ki how can they improve on their problem solving on that path only? Like, I just want to know more your opinion on that.
So obviously, they then won't have the liberty to go over the competitive programming journey, but they can try and do lead code per se in that sense, at least, is what I would suggest. Yeah. So even on LeetCode, if you see there are weekly contests and all which happen, they'll help you build the concept. Obviously, the basis of the concept is everything for interviews. So they'll help you build the concept, but also help you build the intuitions. On what how usually use LeetCode is we just sort the problems by, let's say, concepts and difficulty, and try and do that. But while you are doing that, it's very easy to have the bias in the back of your mind. You know what you are going to apply here. Driving that is not what you are practicing. And that obviously you need in an interview. In an interview, you won't know what kind of concept is going to get asked, right? So that you can actually try and do through lead code contests as well. Or maybe there's a randomizer button also on lead code. You can directly hit up a problem randomly and not know of the concepts getting applied there. But obviously, lead code problems will help you build more on the concepts, because on code forces or ad coder, there are a lot of math related problems as well, which might not be very helpful for interviews. But the atmosphere of uh, developing the intuition and like deriving the concept, you can still develop that or practice for that in lead code. So I would say
Hmm.
try and maybe hide the tags or the filters that you do for
Huh.
conceptual learning. Do conceptual learning, try solving some problems, but after a point, do these as well. That is actually going to
Hmm.
put you in the situation of the interview.
Hmm. Right. Like you mentioned, एक point तक it is fine, because you also need your brain to have that pattern
Yeah,
recognition ability. So अगर you, let's say you learned about sliding window, it is fine. Do 10 sliding window problem, but it should not be like कि all the sliding windows problem that you do, that they are sliding window
yeah,
problem. है ना?
exactly.
After a certain point, exactly. After a certain point, you should have that randomizing thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. All right. So I think we have discussed extensively on, problem solving DSA and how anyone can basically improve upon that. So on a final note, let's say to all of the people who are watching this video, they also want to be like you, because obviously Google is the dream company of almost everyone in engineering, right? So what advice would you like to give them so that they can also, amp up their problem solving skills and be able to crack a company like Google? Like, what would you say to those people?
Uh, I would say if you have the time, do try competitive programming. You
Definitely, definitely.
so I have to enjoy it as a sport. And once you start enjoying problem solving, then these interviews, first thing they'll remove from you of the interview is the pressure part or the nervousness part, because you enjoy problem solving. So try to find a way that makes you enjoy problem solving and solving these questions. If that comes naturally, or if you develop that in you, then Google, Uber, or whichever company interview is it, you won't feel first the pressure or the nervousness, and that opens up your mind, and the basics or whatever you have learned just straightforward comes to your brain. So that is one thing I would say. And second, while you are trying to solve a problem, don't first thing is don't directly go to the solution is fine. Second, don't uh, put yourself down also when you are not completely reaching the solution. If you have given it
Hmm.
enough thought, then when you see the actual solution, there would be that oh moment, that oh, this is something which I
Hmm.
miss.
Aha moment,
Yeah, aha
yes.
moment. And that aha moment, what you'll find the concept in there, no, that will like go into your mind much deeper than when you have learned the concept. So try to get those aha
Hmm.
moments a lot. So think
Hmm.
more about the problems, not necessarily reach the correct solution, but spend some good amount of time. That would really help.
Hmm. Right, right, right. Because again, if you do it like a something that is a chore or something like that, you won't be able to
Yes.
have this, this moment like you're saying. It's you have to take it like at a certain level, the truth about DSA, people don't talk about this. At a certain level, everyone who's good at DSA enjoys it. I would
That's
say almost 99% of the people that you see who are very good at DSA, they enjoy it. They don't think of it like, let's take Tanmay for example, right? We have a great example sitting right in front of us. They don't think, yeah, DSA karna hai, I have stress over this. They enjoy it, sort of, right? So that is some great advice right there. All right, so I guess that we have covered pretty much everything about Tanmay's journey. I'm sorry if I didn't let you speak a lot because I got very excited. When I have a like-minded person on the podcast, it's very rare that I have someone who thinks like this and actually has some good value to contribute to. So really enjoyed this podcast. So yeah, thanks a lot for coming, man. And for all the people, I really hope that you take away some good parts from this podcast. And Tanmay's LinkedIn will be in the description box, so you can connect with him from there and follow with him from there. So yeah, it was a great podcast, Tanmay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.